Welcome to the Nudge Global Impact Challenge 2019.
People need ownership to be able to progress and go further.
Try your best to be as inclusive as possible. Make sure that you bring everyone along.
We forget to involve the people that are most affected by it.
This challenge is about the difference between being successful and being impactful. And that's what you get to learn in this challenge.
And for me, the key takeaway was, the whole process of collaboration, synergies, and making sure that you have an impact in whatever you do.
There is no master plan for how to do this. There's no code by which you choose what is the right thing to do.
And so the biggest waste in the world is not solid waste but idea waste. Good idea, not recycle and reuse.
The most impactful experience here is to see all those individuals making their own ways of change.
We inspire participants to show the best of themselves and to act upon the passion that they have for sustainability.
It's about connecting the hearts of an international community of change makers, which brings about change from inside.
This experience has really pushed me and nudged me to come up with a big, bold, inspiring plan.
Our participants are longing to create impact. We help them to transform their motivation into action.
So I think the most striking part for me is the coaching session, where I realized that I'm overlooking the human factor in myself.
What sets the Nudge Global Impact Challenge apart for me is the fact that it's really driven on impact instead of on ego.
Welcome, everyone. It's really great to be here with you at this exclusive networking event. You get to be backstage before the grand finale, the grand award show that starts after this. But at Nudge Global Impact, at the challenge, we like to listen to feedback. And actually, one of the managers asked, they said, it's so nice that you do this for the participants, but we don't get to meet each other, we don't get to learn from each other, and there's so much going on. And as we saw on the video just now, you see what the challenge is about, what's going on, and actually what you saw, which I think for a lot of us is really endearing, is a moment that we could be together, that we could literally be together and buzz around and talk about making an impact, talk about inclusion, talk about sustainability, and align so that you can all together create a positive impact when it comes to sustainability. But what we wanted to do here is to really discuss with all of us about how to unleash and nurture the leadership potential of young professionals, because many of you who are joining us, coaches, managers, potentials, fans, supporters, you will all be here and you will be exchanging information. And in actually a relatively short amount of time, you will together see the knowledge that lives within us in terms of how to do this, how to unleash this potential, because it's something that we care about. If we didn't care about it, we probably wouldn't be here. Now, before we go on, I should probably quickly tell you what my name is. My name is Amma van Dantzig. I get to take you through this whole process. I am myself an entrepreneur, and I'm very passionate about sustainability, inclusion, and the impact that can create for all of us to have a more sustainable future. So, what are we going to do? We're going to start with the practicalities, as you can see behind us. On your screen, you'll see 3 dots. You've probably done this a few times because we're about a year and a half into the pandemic, so you've most likely been on a lot of Zoom calls or similar platforms, but we'll take you through it. To start off, because we have little time for this exchange, I would like to invite you to multitask, which many of us are really good at or really bad at, but we have to do it anyway. One thing to do is listen to the words coming out of my mouth, and the other thing to do is to do as I say. So, in the three dots in the top right corner of your screen, click that, go to rename and put your name, your country, and your company name. If you do that, that will be really helpful because it will save us a lot of time when you are together in your groups. You won't have to introduce yourselves because the essentials are written on that line. The other thing that is good for you to know is that when we are here together, the studio has muted you. So I am the all-powerful person with a voice. You don't have a voice that others can hear just yet. You will get that soon. If you could please leave your cameras on, because we've been living in very lonely times. Your camera on gives people a sense of connection and keeps you focused on what we're doing here and now. So when we talk about celebrating multitasking, let's not be multitasking outside of the focus of this event so that we can be here together and share our insights together. Now, the other thing I would like you to do after you've done the rename, so mentioning your name, country, and company, is find the studio screen and pin it. So again, in the upper right corner of the studio screen, click the three dots and choose Pin. Also, an unusual request since the pandemic especially is keep your mobile phone close by. I used to always say, please keep your mobile phone silent and far away so we can focus. But now, please keep your mobile phone close by because we will be using Mentimeter as a way to share our insights, our thoughts, our reflections in not sound clouds, but word clouds. So those were some of the practicalities for what we are going to be doing. And now we will take you through the breakout groups. You will have a question. Here, this is how you will do the Mentimeter. You can already log into Mentimeter. That will also save some time. So you go to www.menti.com and you enter the code 12485691. This always makes me feel like a game show host. 12485691. These are not the lucky numbers to win millions of euros in the lottery. These are your lucky numbers to join the Mentimeter and share your insights. So please fill in 12485691 and join us in the Mentimeter where you can put short words, insights that will show up in a beautiful cloud. And you can be doing that during your session so that as the insights are popping up, we can already be seeing, like, these are some of the things that are coming out, and then I can learn from you while not being part of the exclusive networking event. One day, I will be a part of it. First, we are going to the first question, which you will discuss in your groups, which is how to unleash and nurture the leadership potential of young professionals. So to support you in this discussion, how has the challenge helped to unleash and nurture the leadership potential of young professionals? What has been your role for the managers to help this happen? In your groups, you'll have coaches, you'll have managers, you'll have other people, potentials, people who are interested in joining the next challenge, perhaps. So please take this first question and let it rip, discuss, enjoy yourselves, and don't forget to fill in your insights on Mentimeter. I already gave you the lucky numbers. They will come by again for you, 12, 48, 56, 91, so that we can see what's going on. You can chat amongst yourselves. Please try to save time by not doing introductions, but just getting straight into the questions. You can feel free to chat contact information if you want to find each other again, because this is a networking event. We do want you to stay in touch, be inspired, connect, and continue. So enjoy the breakouts. You have 11 minutes for the breakout. You will get a push notice when your 11 minutes are done. You will also get the question again in a message at the top of the screen once you're in the breakout groups. So enjoy yourselves, and I'll see you back here in 11 minutes. Bye. Welcome back, everybody. I hope you enjoyed the exclusivity of your sessions and that you met really interesting people and you learned from each other. I've been in the background learning from you because the Mentimeter is being populated. Please continue to populate the Mentimeter so we can share the knowledge, share the insights. If you've forgotten the code, here it comes again. 12 48 56 91. Maybe you can save these numbers. Who knows? Maybe there's €1 million waiting for you somewhere. Otherwise, this is golden as well. So this is our word cloud. You have being the best examples, needing ambassadors. I'll just go back to the question. How has the challenge helped to unleash and nurture the leadership potential of young professionals? Someone said hi back. Energy, sustainability, I heard a little bit discussion about loneliness, not having like-minded people. So finding support, being a team, being an example, also setting goals. So really being intentional helps. Really saying like, we are going for this, and then finding inspiration to go with it. And maybe that gives energy. And ultimately, of course, and this is one of those things, self-confidence. How do you become more self-confident? Well, if you do this challenge, you will go through a personal development process that helps with that. You can trust people, you have a platform, you build on your passion. So you identify it, you build on it. And also maybe identifying values, shared values, things that we all understand from each other. So these are some of the insights. Also green teams, creating opportunities. It's a sort of magical cloud of words because I might be making something of it that is different from what you said. However, hopefully it might still be meaningful for all of you. So I see some of the words, there are 14 people in the Mentimeter now. Indeed, don't wait, start doing. I think that's a really nice one. I was speaking to some social entrepreneurs at the end of the week last week, and they were talking about how they got stuck in their brains. They could not do, they were stuck concepting. And I think that's especially a danger in a pandemic where you can't go outside and meet people. But just start going, start doing. Being a good example, connecting. These are all ways in which the challenge helps us. Now, I want us to go quickly into the second round of our networking session. I'm hoping this is incredibly valuable for you. You will meet a new group of people, and in that session, you will have a new question to discuss, to explore. Now, if you've struggled a little bit with timing, consider this. Perhaps if you had a chairperson in the session, so somebody who makes sure that everybody gets to say something, it could help. Being logged into the Mentimeter already could also help because then you're already taking notes. So please, let's go to our second breakout where we will be talking about the retainment of young talent and sustainability and what the connection is. So is sustainability a key factor in hiring and retaining your young professionals? Just a sub-question to help sharpen the question a little bit. Young, high potential talent. How do we find them? How do we keep them? So it's almost like looking for a partner to marry, really. How do you find one and how do you keep one? It's the same with talent. It's funny how everything is just connected to each other. So please enjoy the networking session. Another 11 minutes for you to discuss amongst yourselves, explore ideas. And the word cloud will be here. It will be a new, fresh word cloud. It's the same code, though. So 12 48 56 91. You see, it's a clean slate. There we go. Enjoy yourselves, meet new people, make new friends, keep the old. One is silver, the other gold. Enjoy your network session. Welcome back. Welcome to all of you. I hope you enjoyed this second round of exclusive networking. I hope you met interesting people and maybe even exchanged contact information. And I hope you gained new insights on this interesting question on retaining talent. So how important is sustainability in retaining talent. And what is the connection between these two things? The Mentimeter, the word cloud at the moment is empty. It could be, I see there are more people coming into the Mentimeter, so please do type your thoughts, your words in the Mentimeter. In case you missed the code, it's 12 48 56 91. And I'm very curious to understand and learn from you all, because your previous word cloud, you talked about things like self-confidence, so how the challenge has helped you build confidence, it connected you to like-minded people, helped you set goals, so it really made a big difference, but also your role as a manager was nurtured in that. And now I'm very curious about, and you had a lot of support, so you played a supportive role in this. And now I'm very curious about your retainment of young talent and sustainability, and how you see the connection between these two things. For instance, are young people coming to you and saying, I might be interested in this job, but if only you were more sustainable, or I really want this job because I see sustainability opportunities here. So we're very curious what your thoughts are on this. Purpose is really important. So I'm curious now, like if you say purpose, when does this come in? Is it a purpose-driven person who says this? Sharing values is also really an important insight in this, in terms of the connection between sustainability and retaining talent. Perhaps a lot of really talented people are very future-oriented. A lot of us are feeling the heat of what's at stake when we talk about sustainability. We want to connect young people and old people in the company and be genuine in your sustainability act. I think a lot of people are concerned about this. We hear the word greenwashing a lot. Are we really doing something in terms of sustainability, or are we pretending because we think it makes us attractive and it brings talent to us, makes people think that they're working on something purposeful? Having the right structure with HR, I can imagine that this is really a key systems issue. So is HR able to attract the right people, make the right connection between the sustainability goals, so the things that the company wants to achieve, and the person looking for a position, or that we are trying to attract into the company? I find this can be quite tricky sometimes, because our systems are not aligned. We don't really know how to do this. Well, thank you very much. Be transparent. No greenwashing. See, the greenwashing came up. So really being clear. I think more and more people want this transparency, because we are more and more realizing how complex the challenge of sustainability is. Being honest about this helps. Commitment from the very top both attracts and retains hippo talent. I don't think you're talking about hippopotamus here. High potential, right. I obviously spend a lot of time reading children's books at home. So support passionate young professionals in their journey towards a sustainable society. So if you offer that, this might help. So I want to round this off here now, because, and invite you, because this was the first part of a two-part day where exciting things are going to happen. I want to make sure that the managers and the coaches and all the people who are interested stay with us. Stay with us. Let's be together, because we're going to be celebrating some people, we're going to be celebrating impact, and we're going to be learning about some of the projects that these impactful young professionals have been working on for the last 9 months at least, but also 2019 people are here with us. So please stay with us as we invite more guests. We're going to be more populated. Keep your cameras on, connect with each other. And I'll say bye for now, but I'll see you on the flip side when we are working on the final closing event, the award show. So please join us, and I'll see you in a few minutes.
I am developing an academy to bring together people from corporates, financial corporates, and bottom-up initiatives to develop a new economic model.
I would like to help companies make their decisions based on sustainability by making their impact visible to them. I want to change the mindset of 3,000 people on my working area, make their conscious about waste segregation, and by snowball effect, impact hugely the world.
I want to empower people in developing countries to create their own business models on their own terms.
I want to create the new generation, the young millennial, with the mindset of sustainable development and also turn into action to give back the community and also the environment.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm so excited to be here with you to celebrate impact together. So my name is Amma van Dantzig, and it is my great honor and pleasure to be your moderator for today. My daughter often says I'm a modder-eater, which is a mud eater. Well, she likes to play with words. If you speak Dutch, it means I'm a mud eater. So we are going to be celebrating today. There's been a 9-month challenge process. People have been involved. I was here 9 months ago with all of you when the challenge became an online challenge. It's the first time that it's been done online, and it's so wonderful to see that video where we see what is all about, the impact that people want to make, but also really seeing people together. I wonder, as I'm standing here welcoming all of you, how many of you are fully dressed, in fact? Like, how many of you are actually wearing your pajama pants at this award show? And when in your life have you been able to do that? Like wear a neat top for the, well, let's just say I do that. Except for today, I'm wearing a full outfit made by a freak that also focuses on sustainability. Now, what will we be doing? First, I'm going to welcome all of you, our participants from 2019 and 2020. You know, our participants from 2019 didn't have a grand closing event. Usually we do this at the Peace Palace, and it's really quite a spectacular show. I was there last year. We want to welcome our alumni who have been with us maybe 5 years ago, maybe 10 years ago. Our guides, our Nudge Global Impact Award jury members are also here. We have 6 finalists and other guests who are joining us online. We've had an exclusive networking event. Our managers and coaches were part of that. They are also joining us. So welcome to all of you. And if you feel like it, if you feel like you've got to do something with your fingers, you can just chat, write in the chat where you are writing from, joining us from, which country, your name. Well, don't have to write your name. I think we can see your name. We will get to know each other a little bit, but most of all, we will be here to celebrate impact. Now, we have special guests for you. We have this guy. His name is Robert Metzger from Philips Global. He's the head of sustainability. You know, actually, he's a really special guy. I met him 2 years ago at the Peace Palace. And I didn't know it was him. There was this young girl who came to me and says, listen, if there's one thing you can do for me today, you let me sit next to Robert Metzger. And I thought, who is this guy? So I've decided that Robert is not only our keynote speaker, but he is a sustainability and impact rock star. So Robert will be joining us soon, and will be knocking our socks off if you're wearing socks. With his very spectacular keynote speech, I know that he does so much impressive things, so many impressive things at Philips Global, and that's how he became the head. After that, I'm just getting nervous because, or rather anxious, not nervous, because towards the end of the day, we will also have 6 finalists who will be pitching their ideas to us. We have looked at the impact. We have special measures for this. We have a fantastic jury who will help us pick the winners, and we will have a great celebration. So, with that, I would like to, before we get there, welcome our guests, Robert Metzger. Yeah.
Thanks so much.
The floor is yours, Robert.
Thanks so much,
How
Alma.
are you feeling?
You put the bar really high for
Really,
myself.
I did that on purpose because I know that you like a challenge. I know
Always.
that for you, you like a challenge. And we're talking about challenges, so I thought, how can I make Robert feel really kind of warm and sweaty?
You made me feel really appreciated, so I'm trying to knock your socks off, beware. But yeah, great pleasure being here with you.
Yeah.
And it feels like a warm bath being together back with the nudgers, with you guys that really try to change the world. Great pleasure, great honor.
Yeah.
Thanks for the warm introduction.
Fantastic. Yeah, well, I will give you my stage. Make sure you stay close to the table. That's the main tip.
I will do that.
The floor is yours.
Thanks so much. Yeah, so dear ladies and gentlemen, nudgers, Jan and the team have asked me to talk today about prosperity for all, as that is the topic of the Impact Challenge of this year. Prosperity for all. What a wonderful goal to rally behind. At the same time, also, we all know that a goal without a plan is just a dream, right? So where do we actually stand today? Well, let's have a look. Looking forward, if we talk about prosperity for all, we will be 10 billion people around 2050. 10 billion people. We're already 7 billion and a little bit today. So if we talk about prosperity for all, I would want to remind us, this is not just the happy few that are able to participate in the Nudge Global Impact Challenge. It's also about all people living on Earth today. It's about the generations to come. It's actually really about all species and all children of all species to come when we talk about prosperity for all. And at the same time, if we look at the reality today, then we see that we are at a critical point. And that's why also part of the discussion was about the Great Reset, right? We all know that COVID has put a magnifying glass on where we stand today, has actually shown us that the discrepancies between the very rich getting 60% richer and the poorer having no access to healthcare at all, 3.5 billion people at the same time, these discrepancies have only been growing under the current COVID challenge. We know that we live in a world where we dig up 100 gigatons every year of raw materials and less than 10% of that being recycled, tendency declining. And just this morning I read an article about under the same title, Prosperity for All, actually, from one of the global management consulting agencies. And it read a little bit to me at a first glance like, let's just hit the pedal, pump more on the current economic systems, grow GDP with another 50% and hit 122 trillion of GDP by 2030, then we all will be happy and fine. But we will not be, right? We really need to change the system. We need to think very fundamentally about how we can actually find ways to grow prosperity, not just in a material sense, but also in a spiritual, in a social sense, while living within the boundary conditions of the one planet that we have. And having said that, if you look at this little picture behind me here, these balls are the countries on the world, that being India, that being China, with 1.3 billion people each. And you see here how well people live on this axis and how many resources they need on this axis, which makes really clear that all the countries with a high human development index use a multiple of the one planet that we actually have. So the key challenge going forward, if we talk about prosperity for all, is to solve that conundrum and make sure that people really have better access to education, healthcare, you name it, the services that define high human development, and at the same time finding ways to lower the environmental footprint. So that is critical. Now, to do that, we really, really need nudgers. We need entrepreneurs. We need people in government agencies. We need people in NGOs. We need people that can build bridges, that can think in systems that connect these dots and that work together. So I'm looking at you. The challenge is up. While Amy tried to put the bar high for me, I'm happy to also put the bar high to you. There's only, of course, a very limited part of the world that I can influence and oversee. But as the global head of sustainability at Philips, I'm happy to share a little bit of how we try to drive the transformation in the context of a company, Philips in that case. And I believe if companies, small or large, want to play a role in driving the transition, then we need to define and redefine also the role of companies in the context of society. It's really about becoming purpose-driven, anchoring and coming back to what the company has win there. And that cannot just be maximizing shareholder value. It needs to be about creating value for customers, creating value for society, and finding smart ways of monetizing a fair share of that value that has been created. So at Philips, some of you know we are a leading health technology company. We have been around for 130 years this year. And we have actually been set up to improve people's lives. That was the company motto for 130 years. But we have also made this target or this ambition quantitative, and we have said by 2030 we want to improve 2.5 billion people's lives. And there's an entire cadence of ideas and smart metrics behind it, impact metrics actually, that help us drive innovation, make smarter portfolio decisions, engage with people, and think about where we want to engage and how we want to engage. And to that end also, because 2030, of course, is the end of this decade of action, but we have also said we need intermediate targets to that goal. And we have defined targets on 3 sustainable development goals that are most impactful, that we really can influence. The first one on the social side about health and well-being for all, being a health technology company. So we've set 2 billion people's lives improved by meaningful innovation by 2030, and in particular making healthcare accessible for 300 million people in underserved communities. And as I said in the beginning, given the dire condition of the environment of this planet, we also need to understand that we need to reduce the environmental footprint. So I'm talking about also really decarbonizing healthcare. Healthcare is one of the most polluting industries that we know of. If healthcare would be a country, it would be the 5th largest emitter of carbon dioxide in the globe. At the same time, we know that the impact of climate change on healthcare is huge. So we have said also we want to commit ourselves to science-based targets, which means reducing the emissions not just of our own production, but also in our supply chain and in the use phase of our products in line with the Paris targets of a maximum global warming of 1.5 degrees. And we also know that we need to move to circular models. We will never reach the Paris climate treaties if we do not fundamentally shift to circular models that talk about access-based models rather than transactional models where we create value and waste precious resources. We have said we want to reach 25% of our global revenues from circular models by 2025. Zero waste to landfill, and close the loop for all professional medical equipment. Right now we can do that for large-scale medical equipment. We also operate carbon neutral globally, but there's quite a way to go. Now, having said that, and linking it back to prosperity for all, this is an agenda that is far too big for any company, for any NGO or any government alone, so you need to do that in partnership. And that is something that you hopefully also experienced in practice during the nudge journey of 2020, 2021. Teaming up has a huge power, and especially also if it allows to bridge between the private sector, the public sector, and the NGOs, because we have different roles in society, we have different skill sets, different backgrounds, but we need to find a common language. I wanted to give you 3 very brief examples before I wrap up, and I believe Arma mentioned you also have plenty of time for Q&A, so if you have questions, think about what questions you may have. I'm sure Arma has prepared some questions up her sleeve, but so 3 examples that I wanted to share with you guys when we talk about partnerships. I talked about making healthcare accessible. An incredibly complex topic. Putting somebody on a moon was challenging, but I think making healthcare accessible to 3.5 billion people on the globe, where you have no infrastructure, you have no reimbursement systems that support access to healthcare, where you have no trained doctors and so forth, is really, really difficult. So you need to bring together the care providers, the NGOs, the patients, of course, the people that want to live healthier lives. A couple of things that we have done here, you see examples, for instance, a mobile intensive care unit. In India, we have been working on access-based managed equipment service in Kenya. We've been teaming up also with the Makueni County in Kenya to build partnerships around primary care. So there are things that no single company can do on their own, but that do work in partnerships. So really thinking about these ecosystems, addressing all the factors and not just one of them is one of the key things. Same goes actually for circular economy. Right? So if we really want to move away from make, use, and waste to not just recycling material, but also using parts again, refurbishing, actually moving to service and access-based models, then we need to partner up. It starts with reaching out into supply chains, designing your products in a different way, where we think about the materials that are employed, let's say, modular design so that you can harvest and reuse components, the business models that go with it, the financing models, every time you need partners. The last example around the carbon emission reduction, as I said, we have reached 0 carbon emissions in our operations globally by the end of last year. It was a heroic effort. Big compliments also to the team that has been involved and again the partners. But this is only the beginning. The emissions in our supply chain are a factor 10 bigger than that of all operations of Philips globally. So we need to team up with our suppliers to build the capabilities in the supply chain, help our suppliers to drive energy efficiency, share our knowledge about how to set up joint power purchasing agreements or form consortia to source green electricity and so forth. And the ultimate goal of ISCORS is in the end downstream, working with our customers, be it consumers like you and myself as a private person, empowering more sustainable lifestyles, or be it large-scale hospitals and care providers around the globe, where we really want to engage around organizing care in such a way that we can help decarbonize healthcare. One way to do that, of course, are global platforms. We have set up PACE, the platform to accelerate the circular economy, where exactly all these 3 stakeholders, NGOs, governments, and businesses are coming together to think about what are the key bottlenecks to drive circularity, and we are addressing that. We have just published a series of 5 action agendas together with the World Resource Institute and many others. Others are the World Business Council, which you may know, the Ellen MacArthur Foundation, Healthcare Without Harm, the Dutch Sustainable Growth Coalition. So teaming up at all levels between people, between companies, between countries, to have a clear action agenda towards the Sustainable Development Goals is so important if we want to achieve the goal of prosperity for all and not just having this as a dream. I mentioned where we stand today. I think that's pretty amazing. We get a lot of compliments from many people. At the same time also, this is also just the beginning. And if I look at you and the pleasure that I have being in discussion and being back at Nudge today, then I just want to say, if you have the privilege to know, you have the duty to act. And we need more nudgers, right? Great discussions that I had with Jan also years already ago about the theory of change. We are only as effective as change agents as our mental models of society are accurate. If we believe in linear economies, if we believe that we can push and steer companies by just deploying KPIs and micromanaging people, we will not be able to achieve the impact that we want to have. We really need to have people, change agents on the ground that are living in touch with their own personal purpose, that are able to connect that to the company purpose, creating a joint narrative. We need to be able to build also the capabilities in an organization that help to execute on these dreams, these ambitions. We need to align the incentives. So there's a lot to do, and it all needs nudges. With this, I want to actually close this brief keynote and engage in discussion and questions with you. Anna.
Nice, Andy. Thank you so much, Robert. This was, I think you lived up to the bar. You did a good job. I was sitting there making a lot of notes. Now I don't understand my own notes anymore. But you know, and I think there are questions already coming in, I saw. So those of you at home, please do send in your questions. Now, I'm wondering, do you think COVID has actually made people more sensitive to sustainability and the need for sustainability?
I think I see a divide. So COVID has put a magnifying glass on a lot of things we see in terms of tensions also, but I see also there are 2 types of people that react differently to any challenge in life, basically, including COVID, right? There are people that shut down and say, I hope it goes over, and there are people that take a step back and reflect and say, what does this mean? What can I learn from it? How can I contribute to overcome it? I'm sure that the nudgers are square in the second box of that. Yeah. But if you are in such a mindset, then I think the COVID challenge was a fantastic opportunity to think about the inequalities, the challenges, but also like an earthquake, right? We know how earthquakes work. Basically, you have tension building up between tectonic plates, and suddenly they are released. I think the COVID crisis was such a release that really shows where the tensions are shaking up society. And if you are prepared, then you can step into such an opportunity. If you are not, then you are just totally washed away with the...
Yeah, it's been really... have you been working the whole time at home?
Yeah, mostly. 18 months at home, so that's one of the first things. Happy to be with you again in the studio.
Do this together. I see here a question already appearing. How do you nurture, encourage your employees to contribute to Philips' sustainability goals? I think this is a great question, goes right to the heart of it, because you are standing not in front of your own choir. There are people who believe in profits, people who are imagining different metrics for success, and you now are standing there, head of sustainability. So how do you now nurture and encourage employees, but maybe more than employees, right? Leadership, management, higher up, to contribute to Philips' sustainability goals?
Yeah, so I think part of this transformation is always to be able to release your own agenda. That sounds a little bit crazy, right? If you have such a huge agenda, but stepping back and opening up and understanding where is the other one going. Why is our CFO so passionate about managing the cash flows?
Yeah.
Why is our head of HR so passionate about attracting talent? And then relating that to the bigger context of the system, but also being able to articulate how sustainable development actually contributes to achieving these goals in the short term and in the long term, looking for that common ground and shaping a common agenda. I think that is a very short answer to that.
I want to challenge, I'm
Please
all
do,
about it.
of course.
Maybe it's not a challenge at all, but you talked about the CFO. So, and it sounds a bit like the role is a bit like negotiating, it's a bit political. How do you talk to a CFO who's used to managing money about sustainability?
No, I think there are two ways. The first of all, the more fundamental philosophical is one, having a discussion with the CFO about seeing himself as a chief value officer that really understands value flows and resource allocation in the company in a strategic way. I think that is a totally redefinition of the classical role of the CFO.
Yeah.
The second one, of course, and smaller and more confined, is talking about the key value drivers along a P&L. That's the language of CFO, the classical CFO would speak. And then you can say, okay, here's how sustainability contributes to top line.
Yeah.
Here's how it contributes to intangible assets. Here it contributes to cost savings, including productivity, engagement. Here, how it is contributing to how you engage with your shareholders also. Shareholders are extremely interested in understanding risk profile. There is a task force for climate-related risk disclosure. There are many shareholders knocking on the door and actually saying, can we please invest in more sustainable companies? Because actually we have the mandate to manage assets, but in a more sustainable way. So there are many different ways of engaging also with a CFO.
It's really connecting with what they do, with their work, finding the common ground, as you said,
exactly.
and relating what they say to what your agenda is. So really, sort of, it's a peace negotiations, but then not necessarily peace.
I think somebody said always you have to pick up people where they are. If they're standing on a bus stop, then you have to get to the bus stop, right? So speaking the same language is a very first important thing.
Yeah.
And then you can go on a journey from there.
Yeah.
But first of all, I think you need to release your agenda and go there, humble, open, with awareness and compassion, and listen.
Yeah, beautiful. Awareness and compassion. I see here another question. What do you think about disposable medical devices? For you, what are the key opportunities to start looking at this as a service instead of as a product?
Yeah, wonderful question. We just had the Service Design Challenge last week in Barcelona, where the winning team actually was a team from India that was designing a new service around treating and collecting and avoiding avoidable disposables like syringes and so forth. I think a part of the problem with disposables is that they have been designed with a mindset of an infinite resource pool around it, right? So patient safety first, but we don't care about the environment. Now that we understand increasingly the enormous environmental impact of healthcare, we need to find ways to change that. Part of that is, of course, making, for instance, cables that you can sterilize rather than throw them away, or designing process flows in a different way. But another important part is really not just to stare you blindly at the specific product, but really look end-to-end over the patient journey and say, okay, if we can keep somebody healthy, you may not need the intervention that needs disposable products. So I would urge everybody that's dealing with that complex problems to also zoom out and really look at the end-to-end journey and then focus on the things that make a difference.
Yeah.
It's complicated, it's new, but it's brand hot and it's necessary.
Yeah, but also in your keynote, you said something that I thought was a very fascinating dilemma that stood out to me. So this idea of the environmental impact of healthcare that if we would measure the environmental impact of healthcare, it's like the 5th most polluting country, and at the same time, the environmental impact on our health. So it's a very interesting dilemma that you.
It's paradoxical.
Yeah.
I fully agree. And the most paradoxical to me personally is that the entire industry is built around the pledge of Hippocrates: do no harm.
Yeah.
Right. So if care providers understand increasingly that do no harm is not only meant and meaningful in the context of the patient, but also means the environment, the society, communities around it, then you get a different engagement. The World Health Organization actually has said the Paris Climate Treaty is the most important healthcare treaty of the 21st century because of this interrelation.
Yeah.
So there's a lot that needs to be done.
Very interesting. Interesting way of putting healthcare central in our sustainability discussion, actually.
Agree.
That these things are on the same tangent.
And we know that people often more relate to their personal health than to the health of the planet. So if you can connect these two, you can also build bridges to engage from a personal self-interest to also an interest in communities and the planet.
Yeah. Super interesting. I don't want to hog the line. I know people want to ask their questions. So here's another question. What is your typical day at as the global head of sustainability at Philips?
It is actually quite amazing. Mostly inspiring, sometimes really tiring. I try to block some time in the morning to have time to reflect. I try to negotiate with my assistant also to have at least one morning in a week where I can go for a longer run.
Yeah.
The other one I do in the weekend. But then I have a lot of meetings throughout the day, and they range from one-on-one interaction with people, for instance, on coaching, or performance reviews with my management team building sessions. I really love breakout sessions where we go deep in one of the topics, like access to health or circular economy. I do a couple of speeches every week, trying to engage some other people and engage in discussions. And so there's plenty of stuff going on. But I think for me important it is personally to have a consistency between the things that I do myself, that we do in a team and in the family, that we do in the organization, and how we position Philips in the broader context of the organization. That creates a red thread throughout the day.
Yeah, but it also it reminds me of something that was in the video earlier, which someone was saying in the video, I really love being here because I see that it's about impact and not about egos. And this sounds like you are really somebody who is really just more about the impact, so really.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I know that ego is one of the things that has kept us from reaching the impact globally that we have. I mean, if you look at where we stand in terms of sustainable development, the entire landscape is extremely fragmented with 700 different eco-labels in the consumer market. And a lot of that stuff is driven by egos at the company levels, at the organizational levels, fighting for the same subsidies, but also on a personal level. So I think the further we can put away egos, the easier it is to connect and focus on the big goals ahead.
Goals ahead, yeah. That's really wonderful. So really get rid of yourself and your issues and focus on the goals, because there's really too much at stake. I see here there's another question. What is the role of digitalization in achieving Philips' sustainability goals? For example, the ambition for circular products and services. I suspect this might be from your own team.
I think so.
Yeah.
It's a pretty cool question. Actually, I wanted to write a couple of pages about it to just order my own thinking around it. We know, I mean, digitalization is everywhere, right? We say digitalization is eating society if you want to. So the only chance that we have to master and guide this process actively engaging, there are huge chances, but also huge risks when you think about digital data, AI, and everything that comes with it. Giving a very simple example, making healthcare accessible really only works if you redesign ecosystems in these emerging markets. So think about telehealth, better patient flows. That are elements where digitalization really can make healthcare accessible to people that never had a chance to see a doctor before. It can help when we think about circularity, because circular economy basically means create more value with less stuff. So everything that you can digitalize, you don't need stuff for it. So it's a great first step before you start designing better stuff. Get rid of the stuff, do it digital. Yeah. If you think about carbon, actually, digital can help you to better manage energy flows, your logistics, really cut the emissions. At the same time, we know the huge amount of energy that goes into data centers, cloud storage, and so forth. So it's a double-edged sword, a huge enabler, but we need to get it right. And getting it right is not just about the environment. It also needs to be inclusive. It needs to be designed in a way that keeps out biases and is not discriminating.
Yeah.
So I would say very hot topic, fundamentally shifting everything that we do, and a huge chance also for us to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals.
Yeah. It's like everything you mention has to be redesigned. That's ultimately what this whole sustainability challenge is about. And it reminds me of a quote, and unfortunately I can't remember who said it. I think it was an author who said something about you can't make a world you can't imagine. So this idea, what you talked about earlier, about your need for reflection, we really have to reimagine everything, all of our systems. It's really...
I fully agree, yeah. And appreciating the fact that we are actually thinking about systems, that we do not just think about optimizing for myself or optimizing for a transaction or optimizing for a P&L, but that we are part of a bigger system.
Yeah.
And that comes back to the idea of prosperity for all, right?
Yeah, indeed. But it sounds so incredibly complicated. It's well done to you for sticking to it. Here is another question. What is your message? You have a message to the pharmaceutical sector. To what extent is the patent system redundant for global access? And what are the lessons from the COVID pandemic? This is somebody who took their opportunity to ask 3 questions in one. Very easy ones, of course.
I might want to focus on the last one because I'm neither an expert on pharmaceuticals nor on patents. But I don't want to dodge the question. The only thing that I want to say is my advice to any sector is about thinking about what stakeholders expect from you and redesign and rethink the question of what's the purpose of your company. Are you there to make money? Are you there to improve somebody's lives? How are you going to do that? How do you redesign your own business system? Right? So lessons from COVID, yeah, I think again, it was a great opportunity. It is a great opportunity to step back and think about how we want to reorganize healthcare. We know the healthcare sector in itself is quite resilient and resistant to adopting and opening up to innovation. There's a lot of protocols, a lot of old school, so to say, often also. The necessity of treating people at a distance, the overcapacity at the hospitals, just showed that the current system is not scalable and is actually sometimes breaking, or at least being very, very heavily burdened. So that opened up the mindset for introducing new ways of thinking about how we want to organize healthcare. So great lessons.
Yeah, okay, so actually the pandemic in one hand, of course, was very difficult, but it's right in the heart of what you're working on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we tried 3 things, basically. We said the triple duty of care, so taking care that supporting the hospitals in their work, supporting our people that are working in the hospitals, including the field service engineers that have been working there with the hazmat suits throughout the crisis, but also making sure that there's business continuity so that we can continue to do the things that we do. One of the things that I found personally really inspiring when we talk about lessons, if you have a single-minded focus, if you are clear on what you need to achieve and realize that a life's at stake, then you can do amazing stuff. We developed, for instance, a new ventilator in a matter of 6 weeks, which probably might have taken 3 years under other circumstances. Yeah. That type of energy, the type of focus with a purpose is inspiring and one of the great lessons.
Okay, indeed there were quite some important opportunities as well. Very, very interesting. I could go on, but it's not about me. It's about the questions that are coming in. So another question is, how can governments help Philips achieve its sustainability goals? It's a really great question because you actually spoke about this.
I think there are a couple of things that governments do, of course. First of all, they create boundary conditions and also, let's say, reflect the way a society wants to organize itself. And hopefully align their goals also with the long-term development goals that we have. So all the countries in the world ratified the SDGs. That's great. Now please do also act on it, right? So make it tangible, make it practical. I would love to see it really in the Regeerakkoord in the Netherlands, in the agreement of the new government. I think we need governments that also use their purchasing power globally to drive sustainable development. That say if we buy something, it should have a certified, validated, transparent supply chain that actually respects human rights, material resources, carbon emissions, and so forth. So there's great things that governments can do. The other thing is, I think, continue to engage with NGOs and with companies to understand how we can achieve things together. Governments and legislation are often quite reactive. If you look, for instance, at the discussion that we had in Rio or Rio Plus 20 afterwards, understanding where actually legislative boundaries are. For instance, when it comes to circular economy, a lot of the laws that we have set up around waste treatment are there to protect countries from waste dumps.
Yeah.
But that are the same laws that are also interfering right now with transporting recycled goods or recycling streams to places where they can actually process efficiently. And there are many examples. I mean, Apple has put Daisy in the Netherlands, this little robot that can unscrew mobile phones, but they are not able to ship mobile phones from Europe to the Netherlands to be disassembled here because they fall under e-waste. So having that dialogue and understanding what legislation is actually helpful and what not is, I think, another wish that I would have.
Yeah. Well, I think this is really interesting to hear you from Philips actually inviting the government to be a regulator.
Yes,
we
of
don't,
course.
we don't always hear this, so this is really special. I hope those of you at home also realize how special this is. And I love that you are really calling all of us to come together around this single but very complex challenge of sustainability. And I can't help but constantly think about all sorts of childhood things and related to circularity. So earlier I was suddenly remembering a childhood song about making new friends. So make new friends, but keep the old. One is silver, but the other gold. A circle is round, it has no end. That's how long I want to be your friend. And it's a very cute children's song, but it's of course has a huge circularity in it of like continuing to come together, but also just keeping the circle round. So using materials, making them reusable, and also people.
Treating materials also as friends, right?
Yeah, exactly. So it's really incredibly inspiring.
You will have to write down the lyrics.
The lyrics, no worries. I've sang this so many times. But thank you so much, Robert. You, I think a lot of people's socks are off. You knocked our socks off. We enjoyed your keynote. It was inspiring, and it was very much a rally call. We all have to join in around this challenge of sustainability. There's so much at stake. There will be so many more people on this planet, and you and your company and so many other companies are working on this, but we all have to come together around this. So thank you so much.
And so are the nudgers. Thanks so much, Amma, and I'm really happy that I could be here. I wish you a wonderful summit. Be inspired and go change the world.
Yeah, thank you. And do cheer us on with our finalists.
I will.
Yeah. So, we have, I don't know, I do need a little breather from Robert's keynote, because I wanted to ask him so many questions, and maybe you still wanted to ask him questions. I'm sure you can find him on LinkedIn if you have burning questions. He's told you a little bit about his schedule. He has some moments for reflection. He might be able to respond to you. But now, I want us to, as we draw closer to the award show, as we draw closer to the celebration, or continue with our celebration, I want to invite three people to help set the stage. So we're here at the Nudge Global Impact Awards, and what is Nudge? What is this about? So to help us, the only person who can really help us understand this is Jan van Betten, who is the founder of Nudge. So if you're at home, try to give a warm round of applause. Don't feel awkward about it. Nobody can see you. But we clap for Jan. And Jan, thank you so much for joining us. And this is just as fantastic, right? I mean, 2 years ago we were together in the Peace Palace, and now we are here in a studio, and we feel like superstars, don't we?
We do.
Yeah.
But we will be back in the Peace Palace soon.
We will. We must believe. We must believe.
Imagine.
Yes,
that's what you said.
Exactly. No, I can imagine it. It'll be so great. But can you tell us what Nudge is, and what is all this about? We've seen videos, talks.
You triggered me, you know, by this imagine thing, because like 12 years ago, I imagined that we would build up a community of change makers, of sort of a coalition of the willing, and it could be all kinds of people. And this has become Nudge, because now today we have over 80,000 nudgers.
Wow.
About 200 companies connected to this. We have over 1,000 alumni to the Global Impact Challenge. And it's a movement. It's a movement of change makers. And all we want to do is to create this understream in society of people who want to make a difference.
Yeah.
And by doing that, seeing things happen.
Yeah. But this is fantastic because we've actually seen this in the videos, like little tidbits that suggest that there is so much happening. So what you describe with these 200 companies, so many, like this undercurrent for 12 years you've been building this. So is there a moment where you dissolve yourself, or?
I'm dissolving slowly but surely anyway, so.
Don't do it. We need you.
No, you don't need me.
Yeah.
We need this community,
Yeah.
you know, and it will sustain itself.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much for this, and thank you for telling us about your vision with Nudge and what this is all about. I would now like to invite a warm round of applause for Jan van Betten. If you're at home, he can hear you. He has supersonic hearing. Now I would like to invite Rick Koster, who is the founder of Leaderscope. And he's a partner of the program, and he has been with the participants over the last 9 months. So I think it would be great to give him a warm round of applause. Rick, come join me here.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you.
I have a present for you.
For me?
Yeah, look at that. Isn't it great? A mouth cap.
Thank you.
All participants have gotten a celebration box in which also this one is in. Look at that. Busy creating impact.
That is me.
It really suits you.
It matches my outfit a little bit. I am busy creating impact, guys. You might think I'm just talking, but I am busy creating impact. So I'm going to take this off because I wore lipstick for the first time in a year and a half, and I want people to see it. I think it's wearing off, though. Rick, can you tell us what have participants been doing? Because I met, actually, the last time I saw you was here, and I remember being a bit like, how are we going to do this?
Exactly.
And now we're more used to it. We wear caps and stuff.
True.
But what has happened the last 9 months?
Well, I think indeed we really thought about how are we going to do this, because we had this wonderful program, people coming into the Netherlands, and now we had to transform it into an online program. So it was a real adventure and also a challenge at some time also to keep people motivated.
Yeah.
But I think we managed to have a great program with all kinds of different aspects in it. And yesterday we had a celebration only with the participants, and we also asked them what was the most valuable to you from the program. And we have, of course, a very diverse group of people from around the world, so also their answers was very diverse. So some people really liked the changing perspective sessions, in which they got a different view on leadership, on team and organizational dynamics, but also on systems change. So also some of the things that Robert was talking about these wicked problems within a system, we really elaborated on that together with the Wageningen University, which was really exciting.
Yeah. Oh, it sounds like I should have been there, actually. Like,
well,
should have learned
next
more. Next year, who knows? Well, thank you so much for this little peek into how it's been the last 9 months. I think we need to speed on, but thank you so much,
you as
and
well.
Please keep up the good work.
Enjoy the rest of the summit.
Oh, well, we definitely will enjoy it. It's getting warmer and warmer here. I would now like to invite Ilse, because Ilse has been working on this for 10, 11, 12 years now. On this 10 years, yes. Hello, welcome. Great to see you. I just saw you 5 minutes ago backstage. But Ilse, you've been doing this for so long, and I want to understand from you really the soul of this. What is important here? What are we trying to gain? What are we trying to win? Why are we doing all of this?
Yeah, and what is at stake?
Yeah.
I think, well, to be very direct, what is at stake? Our planet is at stake, and our future generations are at stake. And that is why we need to work with the current generation, our millennials, in this program, but all over the world, because we need to listen to them, work with them, lead the way, and give them the tools they need to change the world for the better. And I know it's all words, creating impact, making a change. But if we do this together, you know, it has to happen in a good and quick way.
It's more than words, because you guys have been taking action. I mean, there's a whole team around this, and you have been coordinating this, leading the charge ahead, and bringing wonderful people like Robert, working with people like Jan and Rick. I mean, it's a fantastic work, and thank you so much for the three of you helping us understand what this is about. What is this? Why are we doing this? So thank you so much, Ilse.
You're welcome, and enjoy the rest. Thank you.
I hear we're taking a short break now, because 10-minute break. It's getting warm here, so we're going to take a little break. Get yourself some water, cool off, put your socks back on, maybe just change your pajama pants, whatever you like, but 10 minutes and we'll see you back here. If you haven't put your camera on, please do put that on in 10 minutes. Thank you so much. Welcome back, everyone. I hope you had a great break. Got yourself a nice cool glass of water or maybe a warm drink, stretched your legs, and are now ready to start the Nudge Global Impact Award ceremony. Now, this is no small feat. A lot of people have been involved in this. We have 6 finalists. We have people from 2019 and people from 2020. The people from 2019, unfortunately, did not have a grand closing event as we traditionally would do, but they are here with us. And as we are inching towards hearing from our finalists, I would like to start introducing our jury, because that's also quite a heavyweight jury. And to the people in the jury, I'm not talking about your physical weight. I'm talking about the impact you've made in the world, what you represent, the importance of your role, and actually the role you play and how that contributes to the selection of our finalists and ultimately of our 3 most impactful projects this year, and we will call them winners. So they will be the ones winning a prize. So to start, we have, well, I'll just do what's on the slides. With the jury, if we could go back to the jury slide, we have Liu Yan, who is a social entrepreneur just like me. I happen to know her. She's a systems innovator, a learning facilitator. You can all read, but it's nice to hear someone read to you sometimes, is what I hear from little children. Jan Alberdink Time is the owner of Alberdink Time Leadership Transition in the Netherlands. We have Teresa Vogelberg, who is the chairperson of our jury, and she's the former Deputy Chief Executive Director of Global Reporting Initiative, and she was also the chair 2 years ago in the Peace Palace. We have Precious Mando, who is a Senior Compliance and Prevention Officer at Financial Intelligence Center in Zambia, and the 2016 winner. She has these 2 hats that she's wearing. And we have Professor Philip Platberg, who's the head of department and the environmental policy analysis at the Vrije Universiteit in Amsterdam, the free university. You do still have to pay for that university too. It's not that type of free. So now let's move on to our finalists. Who are our finalists? Here's a quick overview of who they are. We have Chika Nur Rashma Kuzwandi Wasitova in Indonesia. So remember, this is a global award. There are people all over the continent, all over the world joining us. We have Chukuma Anklin Amadi, who is joining us from Germany and is from Nigeria. Sort of our big brother, because I'm from Ghana, he's from Nigeria. We have Michaela Barnett, who is in the USA, joining us. So you can imagine it's early morning for her. We have Sally Musungu, not Muzungu, but Musungu, who is joining us from Uganda, but is usually in the UK. We have Minke Albers, who is in the Netherlands, and we have Erik van Berkel, who is in the Netherlands, and the only one from 2019 who is a finalist this year. So here you have a nice overview of everyone involved, and the people who are choosing our winners, and the people who are competing to win. But how are we going to pick this winner? Now, to properly understand this, we have an impact framework that we've been using, and I would like to invite Dr. Oscar Wiederberg, who is an assistant professor at the Faculty of Science of the Environment Policy Analysis, and he will help us get the context of this. So what is the evaluation framework? So is Professor Oscar Wiederberg around?
Yes.
Welcome,
Great.
There you are. I see you.
What a big screen and a small screen. It's very meta here, as we call it in the academic world. Great to be here. Thanks a lot for inviting me to talk about this. So I'm not officially part of the jury, but we do play an important role in let's say selecting the shortlist which is presented to you. So what I want to tell you is just very briefly on how we do this, to give you a bit of a sense of of how we select the shortlisted winners that then go to our eminent jury. So first of all, my name is Oscar Widerberg, as was announced, working at the Institute for Environmental Studies at the Free University of Amsterdam. We are the oldest institute in the Netherlands working on sustainability issues. We have been around for about a little bit or more, almost more than 50 years. And taking very much an interdisciplinary and impact-driven approach to science and sustainability. We also have a big executive master, environmental resource management, for people who are interested in building more on their careers, want to focus more on sustainability. Check out our homepage and what we're doing there, or just contact me if you're interested. Good. So what we are doing with me and Philip, who is also in the jury and our team, is that we've developed a few years ago, I think 4 or 5 years ago, an impact assessment evaluation framework, which we use. And what we do here is essentially that we're trying to figure out, okay, so how do you compare very different types of proposals, and how do you try to rank them? How do you compare this very heterogeneous set of submissions that we get? You know, how do you compare something, a project that, for example, is building, you know, sustainable pods for vulnerable people to stay in Thailand, to someone you know, building electric vans in the Netherlands, to someone working on, you know, awareness raising for local population on plastics in Kentucky, right? So this is what we were trying to figure out, and this is what has been, let's say, the purpose of this framework, which we've built on a little bit on every year, but it still consists of the main points that I was just gonna tell you about now. What we do is we send out also this survey that you, everyone who please send in a proposal sent in, which has lots of questions, and it's basically made for us to try to figure out, okay, so what are these projects actually doing and how are they succeeding in reaching their goals? And what we do is that we look at 3 things. The first thing we look at is just if you have been able to create the conditions for success, right? Have you fixed all the practical stuff? Do you have the organization in place? Do you have the management in place? Do you have the finances in place, right? Did you actually set yourself up for creating impact, right? Because that's what we're interested in. And some people just have started out, you know, have good ideas, but are not there yet really reaching the impact, but at least have all the conditions. That's something that we really think is interesting that we want to look at. Now, the second thing that we look at is outcomes. So maybe you haven't been able to reduce the amount of plastics yet, or reduce the amount of greenhouse gas emissions, but maybe you have been able to do things. It has intermediary outcomes. So maybe you arranged lots of good workshops. Maybe you've been able to leverage more resources than you started with. Maybe you have reached the news in different ways. So have you reached these intermediary steps? The last thing that we look at is impact, right? So did your proposal actually contribute to solving the problem that it wants to solve? So did you manage to reduce waste? Did you manage to reduce emissions? Did you manage to have that positive impact that you wanted to have on the problem in the first place? So these are the 3 things that we look at, and that we ask you guys to send evidence on what you do. In the end, each proposal get a weighted score. We do provide a little bit more weight to the actual impact, right? So if you can demonstrate that you have proper impact on the ground, you get a certain higher score than you would get for some of the, for example, organizational parts. But in the end, you get a composite score calculated across these 3 different indicators. And with that, each proposal will get a high or a low, or a score between 0. And I think the highest ones had about 45 this year. And from there, we look at which are the 6 best ones. And those ones we send on to the eminent jury, who have the difficult, but also very fun, I think, task to figure out which one they think is the best. So I hope this is all clear. I hope it gives you a little bit of an insight in how we work with this, and very happy to be part of this, and very curious to see who is actually going to win in the end. So thanks a lot for this brief time during this busy afternoon and a little bit time in your lives. So good luck to everyone, and great to actually virtually see you.
Thank you so much, Oscar. I hope it's okay for me to call you Oscar. I really thank you so much for helping us understand what is behind this. So it's not just random people saying random things and randomly picking what they like, but this is a process with 3 components, and these components are weighted, and then this process is custom made for this challenge, and then the selected jury uses this to pick a winner. And the winner means the most impactful project along the lines that you've defined. So thank you so much for this, and thank you for taking us through this process. It's really great to see how this type of thinking and logic is used to measure impact and create impact and measure the impact that we claim that we created. So thank you so much for that. So, I've been talking for a long time, and there are some people who are sitting behind their screens and who are getting ready. These are our 6 nominees who will pitch their projects shortly, and they've been selected, as I said earlier, from 2019 and 2020, because, of course, in 2019, we couldn't have the ceremony in the Peace Palace. The jury process will be online, and we are now inching towards the presentations. Now, I want to really highlight our valued strategic partner from the Vrije Universiteit, who just presented to us how they are measuring this. They have evaluated these processes. I see that our finalist is queued up, which is fantastic. We have Chika here. Chika, how are you doing? Thumbs up, you okay? Yes, great. I just wanted to make sure we can hear you. So Chika Nur Rashma Kuzwandi Wasitova. Did I mess up your name? Or it's good, thank you. You're corporate communications and digital manager at Danone, and you're joining us from Indonesia, which is fantastic. And your impact project is on women empowerment program through Stellar Women. The floor is yours, Chika.
Okay, thank you for the opportunity. Today, I would like to explain about my project called Stellar Women Entrepreneurship Academy. Women's role is very important in driving Indonesia's economy through business because among 55 million Indonesians who are running the small medium enterprises, mostly are women. Unfortunately, the pandemic situation has impacting their business performance because 50% of them cannot survive in this situation. One of the problems are due to lack of knowledge and skills to adapt in the situation. Therefore, women empowerment programs are urgently needed, and we have to act immediately to help them on this. At Danone, we have focused to support SDGs progress through Danone 2030 goals that also connect with our vision, One Planet, One Health. This also includes in supporting women to progress that connects with SDGs number 5 called gender equality. For those reasons, we created Stellar Women Entrepreneurship Academy program that designed for women entrepreneurs to inspire them in running business with sustainability impacts through 4 weeks courses and exclusive mentorship. We collaborate with the Stellar community as one of the largest women communities in Indonesia, Indonesian Business Coalition for Women Empowerment, as well as the UN Women Indonesia. We have a few objectives. First, to improve women abilities in doing business, leadership, and act as agent of change in terms of sustainability context. And we also want to bring Danone's credibility on sustainability and empowerment issues. What makes this program different are, first, we provide credible speakers with various backgrounds that provide opportunity for them to connect and discuss directly. And we also select the 50 participants to get exclusive mentorship program from 5 mentors who will evaluate them closely through assignments and also progress during the program. And also, we select the best participants and 5 top ideas to get the business funding at the end of the program. So basically, these are the glimpses of the modules. We have speakers and mentors from CEO level, government, association, practitioners, and also we have a sharing session from Danone highest leaders. And we also have a modules that consists of hard and soft skills such as sustainability, marketing, and leadership. So basically, these are the results. We have exit target from 500 to almost 800 participants, incremental knowledge and high satisfaction score with sustainability, practical tips as the most interesting topics. While for amplification, we have more than 1 million reach and high talkability on social media with 74 free articles from media and blogs and high PR value in terms of communications aspects. What we expect next are to create an enrichment class for alumni and connect them to our existing or relevant communities such as B Corp. And we also aim to reach more new participants and connecting our program to the global exposure. Last but not least, let's continue to empower women so we can continue to empower the nation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chika, for doing this, and what a wonderful project you have. There is one question from one jury member that we will permit. So I would like to invite the jury member, Precious Mando, to ask you one question.
Good afternoon, Chika. What time is it in Indonesia right now?
It's almost 9 p.m. right now.
Okay, very good pitch. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed it, and I think I really like your project. Women empowerment is really dear to my heart, and so I have pretty much maybe two questions in one. What competitor challenges, if any, do you foresee in convincing the MSMEs to use your platform going forward?
So okay,
and if you
so
have,
basically,
how do you intend to tackle those challenges?
okay, thank you for the question. So basically, the biggest challenges for the programs, I can divide it into two categories. The first on internally and also the external aspects. But overall, the hardest part is how to convince the initial idea and connect with the relevant stakeholders to join the program. Like for example, for the internal parties, how to get an approval, endorsement from the management, including how to ask and invite the management to join as the speakers and as endorsers to this program is also become a challenging because the initial idea to pitch your presentation, how to convince them is becomes the most hardest part during the process. And also for the external parties, how to get the partnership and endorsement to our targeted stakeholders, like for example, the communities that we are targeted, the partners who involve, like from UN Women Indonesia and from Indonesian Business Coalition Women Empowerment to become as our advisor during the program. So it becomes another challenges throughout the programs. But luckily, through the lobbying and also connect with the key spokesperson and also with the support from my line manager, we can overcome the situation.
Thank you very much for the response. Thank you.
Thank you
so much, Chika. I hope you enjoyed this. We are moving on swiftly to the next finalist, who will be joining us from Germany. His name is Chukuma Anklin Amadi. Welcome, Chukuma.
Thank you.
You are an UI UX designer, social impact innovator. You're based in Berlin, and your impact project is the Ignite Africa campaign, Back to School Africa initiative. Is that right?
Right.
Okay.
Correct.
Then we are anxiously waiting to hear from you. The floor is yours.
Thank you. The success of every successful nation in the world is dependent on the quality of education that it invests in its people. There's currently about 13.5 million out-of-school children in Nigeria, and with a growth rate of 2.6%, Nigeria's population is expected to reach 400 million by the year 2050, with over 74% of this population under the age of 25. Now, can you imagine what would be the reality of this great nation by then if nothing is done about this current state of education? This is the problem that my impact plan seeks to solve. The Ignite Africa campaign is a project that is committed to providing access to quality STEM blended education to 200 less privileged children in Nigeria by the year 2022. And this would involve the enrollment of these children back to school, the provision of school materials and other academic resources, and the development of a community-based STEM innovation center where these beneficiaries can gain valuable science and technological skills such as coding, web design, UX design, and so much more. My goal is to break the cycle of poverty that is existing in these communities, because access to these skills will give these children the competitive advantage to access global opportunities, to achieve their dreams, and to ultimately liberate their communities. Can you move to the next slide, please? Thank you. So far, we have made some outstanding impact in this project, and one of which is the issue of sensitization. Moving into these communities, we found that a lot of these households and even the beneficiaries themselves have placed little or no value on education. And this prompted us to, invest a lot of time and resources to sensitize them and help them understand the place of education as a primary prerequisite for a sustainable and a progressive society. Take, for instance, the case of one of our beneficiaries here. Her name is Promise. She lives in Lagos with her mom, but her mom believed that Promise was better off helping her out in her petty trading business in Lagos. But through this sensitization program, we were able to convince her otherwise, and today Promise is in school and performing excellently well. Just like Promise, we have been able to impact up to 418 other kids across 8 communities in Nigeria, and we plan on moving on to more communities in the coming months. This is actually very inspiring for us, but what we even find more significant is the fact that through this program, we have been able to build a global network of over 120 volunteers, partners, and donors from across 13 countries who are mobilizing resources and speaking in one voice to ensure that the rights of the African child is protected. Our next steps will be the development of the community-based STEM Innovation Center. As you can see here, the prototype. We also plan to enhance further partnerships and collaborations, and we also plan to replicate this project in other communities and possibly other African countries through pathways and affiliate pathways. A lot of times you hear people say things like Africa is a dark continent, or there's always going to be a hungry child in Africa because that's the way the world works. But I don't think so. Nelson Mandela said that education is a powerful weapon that we can use to change the world. And I believe that this change can only truly happen in Africa if we can all make a conscious effort to collaborate and to take action. Remember, alone we can go very fast, but together we can go very, very far. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Chukwuma, for your presentation. You two get one question from the jury, and I would like to invite Liu Yan, who is calling in from Singapore, to ask you her question.
Hi, Chukwuma. I really enjoy listening to your projects, and I have built a school also using STEM as a core curriculum to engage students in the poverty areas in Southeast Asia. And so the area you're working on, and actually I'm very passionate and familiar with. So I do have some very specific questions to the problem statements that you share with us. So as you correctly point out, many of the developing countries, youth under 25 is becoming the majority of the population. And you also address that the dropout rates in Nigeria is very high. And I'm very curious, why is it happening? Why are they dropping out? What is the impact of the challenge you're describing? And also, what is really holding the challenge in place? Because I've never been in Nigeria, and I'm very interested in the bigger context that you're operating your project in. And another question is that you're proposing STEM education is a part of the school curriculum, or is it something like an extracurricular? Are you helping children who are still in school to improve their performance? Or are you helping children who drop out to have an alternative path of education? And I'm very curious how you actually prevent children from dropping out. Like the example you give, the girl called Promise. And I'm very curious how you actually convinced the mother to keep this girl in school with your solution. And what kind of magic did you play? What did you show to the parents? So that it really, she really changed her mind. And then the third question, sorry, I have so many questions. I've done this education program for many years, and I know all the challenges in that field. So the third question is,
we have a lot of time, Liu Yan, to answer all of the questions. So if it's okay with you, maybe we can just pick one or two of them. Is that okay?
Yeah, the last question is very simple. Is what kind of solution have already been tried in Nigeria? And what have you learned from them, and how do you leverage them?
Oh, thank you very much for your question. It was a lot of questions, but I wrote down some. First of all, you asked why kids were dropping out and why there was lack of education. The poverty rate in Nigeria is very high, and the fact that the government is not paying enough attention to this very serious issue has led to a lot of families not being able to provide for their children, even to the extent of sending them to free schools. Just being able to provide school materials is a big task for them. And this we found out as we went into some of these underserved communities, and then we found it as an opportunity to make impact, and we leveraged on that. And another question was how we were able to convince Promise Mom to embrace education as a solution to the issues we face in our society. Well, for me, I have a picture of the future of Africa that I have painted in my mind. There's a way I want Africa to turn out to be. I believe that the difference between a developed country and an underdeveloped country is knowledge. And this was the thing we banked upon and helped them understand that with the right knowledge and with the right skills, your children can become something in future and your community will change, and of course, this was some of the things we banked on and were able to convince them, fortunately. And also, what kind of solutions have we proposed? So my organization is Back to School Africa Initiative. What we basically do is help out-of-school children that are not in school, get access to education, and then we sponsor them in every way by providing school materials, by providing mentorship programs, and just ensuring that they learn. And so this is what we have been doing for a long time. But then I thought that it would be very much more valuable to introduce skills, like 21st century skills, such as the ones I mentioned during my pitch. And so through this Ignite Africa campaign, we are then introducing these skills to be a way to beef up the performance of these children and have their futures more guaranteed. Because I understand that with these skills, there's a very high demand of these skills, and any which way these children will be, access greater opportunities in the future. And so this is why we are bringing in this STEM education. And it is not a school-based, it's a community-based STEM education. So it's an after-school program.
Thank you so much, Chukwuma. And thank you, Liu Yan, for your questions. It's clear that you're very passionate about the topic. So perhaps on another platform, you guys could exchange further. But we won't stop here. We'll move quickly on to Michaela Barnett in the USA. She's a PhD student at Convergent Behavioral Science Initiative, and her impact project is Knoxville Zero Waste Refill Store. So, Michaela, take the floor. It's yours, and we are ready to listen to you.
Thank you so much. My purpose on this planet is to reduce waste. As a researcher closing in on my PhD, studying problems with the way we produce, consume, and dispose of goods, I know we have to start thinking about waste differently at the point of generation and not just at the point of disposal. And that's why I created Knoxville, a local refillery and zero waste service in Knoxville, Tennessee. There it is. But Knoxville is so much more than a zero waste store. As a sustainability scientist, I'm also working to fight against the perception that living sustainably is too hard, too elitist, or demands too much perfection. I'm making the most sustainable option the easiest one while taking away the guilt, anxiety, and shame that comes from feeling like you're not doing enough for the planet. I believe progress is better than perfection, and I celebrate all of my customers' small victories. I'm also using my platform to mobilize people to push for larger systemic change where this problem will ultimately be solved. Knoxville's business model is simple and impactful. I fill up reusable, refillable containers with products that would otherwise come in plastic packaging designed to be thrown away. When customers' containers are empty, they bring them back and swap them out for a full one. And I take the empty containers to be cleaned and refilled for others. I source our products from local makers whenever possible, making sure that sustainability and equity is prioritized throughout my entire supply chain, and I offset any transportation emissions through a partnership with a local forest. It's a no-waste, completely circular option for my community to opt out of our throwaway linear economy. Knoxville launched just 3 months ago. In that time, we've helped transition over 250 households away from single-use plastics, and that number is growing fast. But beyond waste diversion, this business is also helping educate and engage people on sustainability and zero waste through our large and growing social media following. 5 different news outlets have also covered Knoxville, helping reach over 25,000 people in my community. That's 25,000 people learning about creative, sustainable solutions to our current system. Because we source from small local businesses, we've also been able to directly invest back through our product purchasing, and I also donate a portion of our sales every month to a different nonprofit focused on environmental or social justice. In the short term, I plan to transition to a physical storefront that will become my community's premier space to get the goods they need, that also serves as a hub for collective action and the sharing economy. My long-term vision is to take all the lessons I've learned and create an online course and resource hub so that this model can be replicated around the country and around the world. I'll help others create a viable, sustainable alternative and invest in their own communities while reducing waste from production to disposal. This is global change at the local scale. The world urgently needs us to stop trashing the planet and change the way we make, use, and throw away goods. I'm going to empower and equip as many people as I can to turn our disposable status quo into one that is truly regenerative and sustainable. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Michaela. And also for you, we have one jury member who is allowed to ask one question. And for this, for you, I would like to invite Jan Albering-Tijm. I believe he's here. Yes, there he is. What is your question?
So, well, first of all, thank you very much, Michaela. Loved your presentation. I would have loved to come and see it in Tennessee. Unfortunately, that's not possible right now. I love the ambition you have for the project too, because you really want to scale it up and make it a big thing. My question would be relating to that is now I can understand that there'll be a lot of early adapters, people who are very sympathetic to this idea, who like to are very much into sustainability and changing their behaviors. But if you really want to make this big, you'll need to sort of move into the middle mass market where people are much more, where their current behaviors are much more sticky, and it might be much harder to get them to work in this way and have their containers and their bottles and stuff like that refilled. And so, what are your thoughts on that? How do you view that? And do you see it as a problem? And if so, how do you anticipate to tackle that?
I think that's an excellent and really insightful question. So in my PhD, I'm actually studying behavioral science for sustainability. And you're right, this is fundamentally a behavior change problem. And in my work, I think of the 10%, the 80%, and the other 10%. The 10% of people are going to do this, even if it's not easy, even if the products aren't good, because they care about the planet. 10% of people probably will never adapt to this model. So I'm focusing on the 80% of people, and I've got a few different strategies to help adopt this more refill, reuse model. But in the future, I see this becoming much more mainstream and larger brands adopting this and really using different strategies from quality to convenience to price and affordability for that 80% of customers that we can change and get them to adopt this new model. And tackling that behavior change question is actually the topic of my dissertation thesis. And so I'm planning to incorporate all of my findings from that project, both into my own business and into the online course that I discussed, and sharing those insights with larger companies to help them transform their customers' behavior as we make this really necessary switch.
Good. Thank you. I guess I need to read your dissertation then, once it's finished.
It's not done yet. We're at proposal stage.
Oh,
But
well, send it over when it's finished.
I will. Thank you all so much.
Yeah, thank you so much, Michaela. Thank you, Jan. And we'll move on quickly to Sally Musungu, who is joining us. There's Sally from Uganda. She has AgriLabs Connect Limited and Accelerate Soil Analysis in Kenya and Uganda. The floor is yours, Sally.
Yeah. Next. It's extremely hard to study when you're hungry. 20 years ago, our farm looked like this. And it's unfortunately, this is still how it looks like currently. Next. You know, the school feeding program has been in place to cater for kids who don't have food at home. Next. Because a lot of kids don't have food at home. That's why they rely on school feeding program. Next. Look at what it takes, the difference that soil testing does to a farm and also to the household food security. But unfortunately, not so many farmers have access to basic soil testing infrastructure. And that's why we feel it's really, really important to have a connecting platform. And we have developed a connecting platform, the AgriLabs Connect platform. Next. So the AgriLabs Connect platform allows mobile soil testing providers to access farmers in rural areas and give them the right correct recommendation report so that they can improve their yields. So far, we have developed a prototype which is being tested in Kenya and Uganda. It's next. Which is now available on Google App Store in multiple languages for farmers to test it. What we want to do is to create that seamless connection between the service provider and also the farmers. Next. So that farmers are able to make informed decision in terms of what is missing in the farm and also what amendment they need so that they can raise their yields. Next, in tandem with the technology, what we have done is we have created awareness at the local level. So we have trained farmers about our solution and also the soil analyst about our solution. So far, we have trained 347 farmers from the beginning of this year and 87 soil analysts. What we have a field trainers who are boots on the ground to help create awareness at the local level. Of course, we also negotiating with international organizations who are implementing agricultural projects at local level so that we can reach their farming base and reach more farmers. What we want to do ultimately is to launch this working application next by the end of this year, because we have already set the scene and we want the farmers to use the application to interact with the service provider. But we cannot do this alone. We need to collaborate with NGOs in agriculture sector so that we can build capacity of the farmers and also create awareness among the soil analysts about existence of our solution and how they can use our solution to reach more farmers. What we strongly believe next is that food is really at the core of sustainability, and we really have to secure the household food security for us to attain all the sustainable agendas. Thank you.
Well done, Sally. Thank you so much for your presentation. And also for you, I would like to invite a jury member to ask you a question, and you have none other than the chairperson of the jury, Teresa Vogelberg, who is here with beautiful flowers to ask you a question.
Hello. Hello, Sally. Hello, everyone else. It's impressive to see around 100 participants from all corners of the world. I greet you all. But my questions are now to Sally. I'm really impressed by your presentation. And obviously, in your presentation, you explained how important it is to have the right analysis of your soil, and that it makes a huge difference in terms of productivity and in the end of for food security of households and of the whole society, which is of course the main goal. My question is a little bit to understand the context of soil testing and soil analysis and the affordability for farmers, because it's not only the soil, it's a whole range, it's a whole system of, and you would like to create as much as possible independence and autonomy from external inputs, fertilizer and all of those things which are relatively expensive. So what would you respond to this question about affordability of this soil analysis to the local poorer farmers? And by the way, how many of these 350 farmers that have been trained and of those analysts are women? Thank you.
Thank you. I'll just address your first question about affordability. We are leveraging on the mobile soil analysis tool, which has been developed by our partner, the AgroCares. It's relatively affordable, so the farmers only pay $10 for a soil analyst and instant recommendation plan. But the farmers also have an option of depositing, paying in bits. When they sign on the platform, they have that option, so they don't have to pay on lump sum when they order the services. So they can just save in bits, and then when they need the services, they just order for it automatically through the application. With regards to your second question, could you please repeat that again?
I was just, that question was sparked by the slides that you showed, where you could see the trainees and also the analysts themselves. I was wondering how many of these are women as opposed to men of the farmers that were trained.
Actually, 80% are women, because most smallholder farmers are women. So most of our participants are women and 20% are men. So we really have high participation from women, because they really face these challenges and they're providers of food at home. So it's kind of their responsibilities to make sure there's food at home. And they're really enthusiastic about joining our training program to find ways to improve their household food security.
Thank you very much, Sally, and I wish you good luck in this very, very important journey of yours.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sally, and thank you, Teresa. We will move on swiftly to Minke Albers, joining us here from the Netherlands, and she is here with the New Life bicycles.
Thank you, Amma.
For you, yeah.
Okay, sorry, it started already. We will start with a video.
This is the new life of your bicycle. I'm very proud to be the one handling this. Wow, just beautiful. Look at that. Incredible. Wow.
During my visit in Senegal February last year, I was inspired by Bicicletas Sin Fronteras. This is a non-profit organization whose Bicycle for Education program has been helping kids to cycle to school since 2015. Bicicletas Sin Fronteras collaborates with Senegalese Ministry of Education to provide a large number of students with bicycles. With a bike, kids arrive less exhausted and hungry at school as by walking daily for 2 to 4 hours. Due to the bike, over the last 5 years, the passing rate for these kids grew from 50 to 75%. Did you know that my company, PON, produces almost 1 million bikes per year without exactly knowing where these bikes end? PON is a family-owned conglomerate with bike brands like Gazelle, Swapfiets and Cervelo, and also importer of brands like Volkswagen and Caterpillar. What was my idea? To extend the lifetime of Swap bikes by giving them a new life in developing countries through collaboration with Bicicletas Sin Fronteras. Some of the steps I took, together with the support of my team, was to define a project goal, a pilot with one container with 160 bikes that were repaired and transported and in use by Senegalese school kids. To repair and transport these bikes, 13,000 euros was required. Therefore, I pitched the project to my company in order to raise 8,000 euros, and the other 5,000 were raised during an online internal auction. The next step was repairing these bikes during an internal volunteer week. Last February, the bikes, including a large number of spare parts to increase the lifetime of the bikes even further, were ready and shipped to Senegal. The main results are currently 160 kids are riding the new life bikes, which enables them to go smoothly to school, as you could see in the movie. Swapfiets believes this is the start of a relationship with a partner that is doing great things in Senegal. Therefore, a minimum of 200 bikes will follow each year going forward as we seek to play our part in a project that is making a meaningful difference to everyday life in Senegal. And one of the last results were that with my passion for sustainability and pushing for this topic has resulted in the fact that since last week I got a new role as CSR manager for PON and will be organizing more of these great projects. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Minke, for your presentation. You too will get one question from a jury member, and your jury member who will ask you a question is Philip Patberg. Philip, yes, there you are.
Yeah, thank you very much. And first of all, also very excited to be here. It's super nice to be part of this very energetic community. I see all the comments in the chat and I can really feel how you are all in this together. It's really great to see. And also to all the finalists, I have read your material very detailed, and Oscar has explained the method we used from the FU. So I feel that you all deserve to win because these are so fantastic projects. But of course, we have to ask some questions. So Minke, let me go ahead and ask you a question, which is not so much about, scaling up or some of the technical issues. I'm more interested in what you learned about yourself during this process. So I can imagine this was an interesting journey for you when you got this idea and you, as you explained, were in Senegal, you're seeing what's going on, and maybe reflecting on that process. What is the biggest lesson that you learned about yourself during this whole process, and how can that maybe help you to take the next step?
Thank you for this question. Reflecting on the last year. As I mentioned, I visited Senegal and I got so inspired by this organization who's really working with so much passion to get this end result of having kids being able to educate and getting to school in a better way. And during the project, we were often in contact with them, and I got reminded during these meetings with what we were working for and what we were working with, and that sometimes in daily life I forgot that, and having these meetings with them and seeing them so happy with what we contribute to was something that was really inspiring. And I think for me, I realized the last year as well that I want to make the world a better place, and how I can contribute to that within this project, the Nudge Challenge, and now within my new role as CSR manager, so that I realized and learned.
And a quick follow-up, if you could go back 12 months and talk to yourself 12 months ago, what advice would you give yourself? What to do different, maybe?
Like believe in myself and believe in this project and distinguish who I am and what I do. So who I am, I'm a beautiful person, and what I do is standing next to that.
Thank you so much for your questions, and it's great to see you think hard to answer these questions. It's obvious that you didn't expect these ones coming. Good luck. We will move on swiftly to our last presenter. He is also a Nudge Global Impact Challenge participant from 2019. Erik van Berkel, who is a market analyst at Ascent and founder at Avan NL. And your impact project is Avan, Make Sustainable Travel Real. The floor is yours, Erik. Erik? Erik.
Yes, Erik. Thank you very much. We believe that everyone should be able to discover the world in a sustainable way. In this pitch, I want to tell you how we try to achieve that and how I can use your help to get there. But first, next slide, please. Just imagine for a second. You are driving this 70s Volkswagen T2 camper van through nature. Other people are smiling and waving because they really like those fans. You have your road trip music on, which is not disturbed by the sounds of a loud and fragile engine. You have everything on hand that you need to go camping. You can go wherever you want, and you really enjoy that feeling of freedom. You love the beautiful nature around you, and you love the idea that your trip has no negative impact on this environment at all. With this idea in mind, I started the Nudge Global Impact Challenge in 2019. 2 months later, I founded Avan together with a friend of mine. With Avan, we rent out these classic vans with 100% electric, so the charms of these vans, but without the emissions, for everyone who loves to travel in and around the Netherlands in a sustainable way. Next slide, please. So, how sustainable is this idea? Well, first of all, we make use of existing vans, batteries and engines, so no new materials are needed there. We inspire people to start driving electric. We sometimes get really nice reactions of people who were surprised by how much they like driving electric. And on top of that, 1 tree is planted for every trip made with us. We charge at our office with 100% local solar energy facilitated by an on-site battery system. And to be specific, we had 61 bookings so far, leading to an estimated 5,000 kilograms of CO2 not emitted as compared to trips with a fossil fuel camper van, and 3 times that compared to a holiday by plane 500 kilometers away. Next slide, please. We started in 2020 with a crowdfunding campaign. This campaign was successful, and after that we could start with 1 van. And that was the 1 van that we had last season. This van was fully booked until November. So that went quite well. So we decided to scale up, and now we have 4 vans on the road with 1 more coming up. And the focus for this season is to make sure that everything runs smoothly. It must go well operationally. We should attract enough customers, and these customers must be really happy. If all goes well, we hope to expand next year. We are working on our growth strategy, and we are considering continuing the same way. Also make other types of vans electric, or converting and renting out vans of others. Last slide, please. So I told you about Avan, how sustainable it is, where we are now and where we are heading. And I'm curious, do you think this would be possible in your country as well? Or do you see other possibilities to work together? If so, feel free to reach out. I'd love to get in touch. Oh, and yes, you are always more than welcome to come travel with us. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Erik. Lovely idea, but your role is not to ask questions. Your role is to answer a question from the jury member. So I would like to, don't worry, you'll get your answers. I would like to invite Teresa Vogelberg again to ask you a question.
Well, thank you very much, Erik. And I'm happy that you didn't propose for this test ride before this presentation, because I would be too tempted, and I might be that might be seen as being as an attempt of bribing. No, I'm only joking. I think it's a smart idea. It's you know, and I think in your presentation as well, I got a flavor of two smart guys coming with this idea, finding a niche in the market, because I don't know how it is for other countries, but in Western Europe, these old-fashioned vans using super high intensive in fuel, you have been transforming them into electrical vans. So my question is, to what extent is this a smart market adventure, or do you see it? And I think that the obvious gain would be climate mitigation, though at a very, very tiny level, you could say. But to what extent can you place this in a broader context of the general theme, namely poverty alleviation and prosperity for all? Because you asked this question about other countries, but I would like to ask the same question to you. To what extent would this really contribute, for instance, to the Sustainable Development Goals? Thank you.
Thank you very much for your question. I think there's no direct link with poverty alleviation directly. So I think we are more on some of the other global sustainability goals, like the environmental impact. I think, we do have some impact there. So that's partly the CO2 that is saved. And also we really try to inspire people to make more sustainable choices. So not only the electric driving, but we give them away also some other products for along the way to get acquainted with other sustainable products. So that's what we try to do. And I think thanks that you say that we have a nice niche and that it sounds like a good business idea. We did start out from a sustainability impact point of view, and that's still also the main driver for us. So that's what drives us, and that's what we try to achieve. I think in the end it should maybe also go together. So if you can have something that is a good business idea and has impact, then that's a nice formula for success for scaling up and in that way increasing your impact. Does that answer your question?
Absolutely, and I would add that what I find attractive about it is that this is something that's popular with young people. It's hip to use those old vans and old cars, etc. And if you can transform it into something something which is sustainable, then it becomes attractive for young people to act in a sustainable way. So I think that could be a multiplier effect. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Fantastic. Well, that was our sixth finalist, our last presentation. And now the jury is going to sit in a private room online, and they're going to deliberate. And then they will come back and tell us the good news, who are our three winners. In the meantime, we have something for you to do while you wait for the jury. So we can do, we will put you all in breakout groups, and we will go and do speed networking. So this is an opportunity for you to meet each other. You will all be in the breakout group. Now, I know that we've been listening for a long time, we've been engaged for a long time. Some of us might be quite anxious. It might be a bit too much to ask. So my only request to you is, if you are in a breakout group, let us all opt in or all opt out. So you are free to take a little break for yourselves. But what I would like to do to avoid is that there's one person in a breakout room by themselves. So if you're all going to do the speed breakout room networking, these are questions that you can answer. It's just a way for you to meet new people, because if we were in the Peace Palace, you would have had this opportunity informally. So you can ask these questions. Who are you, and where does your passion for sustainability come from? So you can exchange, you can learn about this from each other. Or what did you, in the next round, what did you find inspiring during the finalists' pitches? Because you'll be going in rounds. And the third round is name one thing that made you smile today. This is a wonderful question. So Again, you will be put in the breakout rooms with random people. The whole point is that you meet random people and you can exchange with them, get to know them, chat with them for a few minutes, and then you go to the next round, you chat with them for a few minutes, and you have each time one question that you get to share. You are free to decide not to do this, but I would like you to take each other into consideration so that you don't have one person in one breakout room, because that's not really nice, is it? I would be very sad if I were that one person in that one breakout room. So enjoy your breakouts, and you have until 4:40, so 20 minutes to 5 to have these sessions. So please enjoy. And I will meet you at 4:40. Welcome back. Welcome, everybody. How are you doing? Even if you would answer, I wouldn't hear, but I'm feeling the tension building up in my body. If you're feeling tense, maybe do a little stretch, roll your shoulders a little, because I'm really excited. It's time for the announcement of the winners, and they'll be winning prizes. So who are the winners? We'll get there, but what are they winning? First, the runners-up will win an entrepreneurship coaching session with none other than Jan van Better, the founder of Nudge. So that is fantastic. We will not leave anybody hanging. Now, the winners, the people we call winners, the people who have made the most impact according to the measures, right? They will win 2,000 euros to be spent on a cause of public good related to their project. And of course, they get to be the heavyweight champion, the winner of the Nudge Global Impact Award 2021. That is no small feat. This is a huge deal, and I am really excited to know who gets to win this fantastic prize. Well, that's not my job to tell you who wins. I would like to invite Teresa Vogelberg, the chairperson of the jury, to tell us what is going on. Who is the winner? Where are we going, Teresa? Teresa, I love your flowers. You are ready. You're ready to choose winners.
Absolutely. Well, I would say that in a sense, all 6 nominees are winners, because we were very impressed by the variety of ideas, by the geographical spread, by the inspiration and excitement, and also by the presentations. I think all the presentations went really well, and I have to say that's quite a challenge in a virtual conference, as we were used to be able to meet each other in live in a very inspirational atmosphere or surrounding of the Peace Palace, and now we had to do this through this digital way, and at least the jury was really highly inspired by everyone. So it was a little bit tough, and we had only a short moment to deliberate, but in the end, we came to a full consensus. And amongst the 6 nominees, Chika, Chukuma, Michaela, Sally, Minke, and Eric, we selected 3 winners of the Nudge Global Impact Award 2021. And those 3 winners are, ta-da! Here they come. Chukuma, Michaela, and Sally. And let me give the argument. That's wonderful. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You might want to know why. Yeah, you might want to know why we selected these 3 amongst the 6, because we looked at 3 main criteria. First of all, the importance of the topic, the thematic importance, within the context of the theme of today's conference and of the whole of this whole round of proposals. We looked at the potential and the actual scale of impact, and we looked at the quality of the solution. And if I go through the winners one by one, I think we were all impressed when we listened to Chukuma Aklin Amadi, that he was hitting at such a huge, importantly, topic of education. And that when we listened to you, Chukuma, we could hear your year-long experience. So it was not only what you had put on paper, but in your presentation, we heard your experience, and we were also impressed by the results in spite of all the obstacles that you have already obtained and the potential scaling up. So we wish you good luck in your endeavor and say that we were highly impressed. Although I think there are still some challenges at the operational level, but that's something else to be discussed later. Concerning Michaela Barnett, I hope I pronounce your name correctly, Michaela. We were impressed by the innovative nature of your proposal, and that you immediately put it into action in a very practical way, and that at the same time that you are doing a PhD and that you have, you could say, an academic backing of your proposal, where you can apply the outcome of your research and also already are looking forward to scaling up, as you explained in your presentation. So again, we were highly impressed with that, and we wish you lots of good luck. And we look forward to hear and see more from you and your partner. And then the third winner, Sally Musungu from Kenya and Uganda. We were impressed by the fact that this AgriLabs Connect project hits the core issues and the core challenges and solutions from, actually, I would not say not only the sub-Saharan continent, but sub-Saharan African continent, but the whole world is looking today very much at sustainable food production, food security. But at the same time, your project also had a strong solution in the field of capacity building and women empowerment, as well as having the potential to scale up. Although we also felt with this project that there were some questions on the operationalization, but maybe that was a matter of presenting. So again, Sally, lots of good luck with your project, and let's hope that more and more farmers, especially women farmers, will have knowledge about the soil composition of their land, and that they can adapt and improve their agricultural production and productivity. So good luck to you as well. So let's join our virtual hands in applauding the three winners, Chukuma, Michaela, and Sally. Thank you to the jury members.
Congratulations to the three of you. I would like to know, I'm going to quickly just ask you, you've had a moment, if you are feeling emotional, hopefully you've gathered yourself again. I want to quickly ask the people who have won. Let's start with Chukuma. How do you feel? How do you feel about this? What's going on in your mind as you are seeing this? I can't read your face. What is this like? What does this mean for you?
I would say I'm literally mind blown. I'm really grateful that I'm receiving this sort of recognition, and it really means a lot to me, and I'm much more motivated right now to go ahead and keep creating impact. So thank you very much for this great award.
Congratulations, congratulations, well done, well done. And Michaela, how do you feel? And you know, you're doing your PhD about this. Do you already know what you're going to do with the money?
I've got a lot of ideas. I feel so honored and so grateful. I mean, everyone that participated in this challenge was so phenomenal, and I'm really grateful to be a part of this cohort. So delighted, honored, also blown away.
Well, congratulations to you too, and Sally. What is it like for you? What does this mean for you now that you know that you've won this? What does it mean to you? You are hearing this, you're in Uganda, 2,000 euros for a cause of your choice.
Well, I'm really honored to win this award, but I'm also really thrilled to be among the finalists and to be recognized for the efforts of this project. But I'm really excited because the challenge which is at the local level is being recognized at the global level, and I'm really enthusiastic to go on with the project.
Congratulations. This is so phenomenal. It's fantastic. I'm so happy that you are excited, that you're blown away. I'm happy that we're doing this way. I'm surrounded by confetti. It's sustainable confetti, don't worry. And this is all for you. We are going to be celebrating here for you, with you. And I hope you each have your celebrations planned out for you at home. Now, I want to say something that a lot of people have heard before, but I have to say it. We are all winners, right? We are all winners. When we support each other, when we come together, when we learn together, when we commit to creating an impact, when we think beyond ourselves, when we listen to what Robert was telling us, when Philips saw for themselves that they had zero CO2 emissions, they didn't stop there. They went on to try to change the system, go further than yourself, go beyond your own organization, go beyond your little corner in the world and make an impact. When we all do that, when we all see this, when we are purpose-driven and we are focused, then we are all winners. So don't look at your brothers and your sisters, your friends and your colleagues and say, they won and I didn't won. You went through a fantastic trajectory of 9 months where you met yourself, you learned about yourself, your strengths, your shadow side, your light side, and we together are moving forward with all of this in our backpacks. So we are all winners. I hope the cynical voice in yourself is shut off now, because we have all won. You have all done well, and ultimately we all win when we create better futures for future generations. I've talked about children a lot. Children have been on my mind a lot. When we do something better for future generations, we have all won. So this is a big win for all of us. When all of us come together, each of us bring what we can to create a better world. So thank you all. Enjoy your evenings. Have a little party or a big party. Celebrate. It's important to celebrate because the challenges are huge, but every moment you get to celebrate, it is so important to do it. So I am going to open a bottle of champagne here, have a little bit. Don't overdo it with this celebration, and enjoy your evening or your morning, wherever you are. Enjoy yourselves. Remember to take care of yourselves, and remember that we are all winners when we come together. Have a good night, and see you next time. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.
Inside me,